Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Red. Everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. Why? Because her grandma made her a pretty red cap. Little Red Riding Hood loved to wear it everywhere. Little Red Riding Hood lived in a cozy cottage with her mommy. One morning, Mommy called Little Red Riding Hood to her.
Grandma is sick. Will my little girl take this basket to Grandma?
Little Red Riding Hood loved her grandma very much.
Yes, Mommy.
Mommy packed a basket full of goodies for Grandma. There was sweet cake and a bottle of wine. Mommy closed the basket and gave it to Little Red Riding Hood.
Stay on the path and don't talk to strangers.
Little Red Riding Hood promised she would be careful. She put on her red cap and skipped off to Grandma's house. The forest was big and shady. Birds sang beautiful songs in the trees. Little Red Riding Hood felt happy as she walked along the path. Suddenly, Little Red Riding Hood saw a wolf. He was sitting by the path, looking very hungry.
"Good morning,"
said the wolf in a gruff voice. Little Red Riding Hood remembered what her mummy had said, but the wolf looked kind of friendly.
Hello.
Said Little Red Riding Hood.
"Where are you going, little girl?"
The wolf asked. Little Red Riding Hood held her basket tighter.
I'm going to see my grandma. She lives in the cottage past the woods.
The wolf smiled a sly smile.
"Why don't you pick some flowers for your grandma? The prettiest flowers are off the path."
Little Red Riding Hood thought about it. Flowers would make Grandma happy. She forgot all about her mummy's warning and left the path. The wolf watched her go. He laughed to himself. He had a wicked plan. He would go to Grandma's house first and trick her too.
Who is it? The wolf ran ahead to Grandma's cottage. He knocked softly on the door.
"It's me, Grandma. It's Little Red Riding Hood," called Grandma's weak voice. The wolf made his voice sound high and sweet.
Come in, dear. Grandma opened the door a crack.
She croaked. The wolf rushed inside and gobbled up Grandma in one gulp. Then he put on Grandma's nightgown and bonnet. He climbed into bed and pulled the covers up to his chin. He waited for Little Red Riding Hood, licking his chops. Little Red Riding Hood finally reached Grandma's cottage. She had a big bouquet of flowers. She knocked on the door.
"Who is it?"
Rasped the wolf, trying to sound like Grandma.
It's me, Grandma. It's Little Red Riding Hood.
"Come in, dear."
Croaked the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood stepped inside the cottage. She thought Grandma sounded strange. She tiptoed over to the bed and peeked inside.
My goodness, Grandma, what big eyes you have.
"The better to see you with, my dear."
And Grandma, what big ears you have.
"The better to hear you with, my dear."
But Grandma, what big teeth you have.
The wolf jumped out of bed with a roar.
"The better to eat you with."
Just then, a hunter walked by the cottage. He heard the wolf's roar and the little girl's scream. He burst into the cottage with his axe raised high. The hunter saw the wolf and knew what had happened. He swung his axe and the wolf fell to the floor with a thud.
The hunter cut open the wolf's belly. Out popped Grandma, safe and sound. Everyone was so happy.
Grandma hugged Little Red Riding Hood tightly.
Little Red Riding Hood learned a valuable lesson that day. She realized that she should always listen to her mummy. She promised never to talk to strangers again, especially in the woods. And she learned that picking flowers is fun, but staying safe is much more important. The hunter helped them fix Grandma's door. Then Little Red Riding Hood and Grandma had a lovely afternoon together. Little Red Riding Hood learned that even though bad things can happen, there are always good people who will help. The end. Did you like the story of Little Red Riding Hood? There are so many more exciting fairy tales and magical adventures waiting for you to discover. Subscribe to the Storytime Whisperer and let your imagination soar. Remember, reading opens up a world of possibilities. So keep exploring, keep dreaming, and keep those pages turning.